So in this video we're going to look at working out percentages of amounts. So there are lots of different methods for working out percentages, but the one I'm going to demonstrate is this method here, which is get the original amount and divide that by 100 to find 1% and then multiply by the percentage you're after. Okay, so if we start with an example, so if we wanted to work out 27% of £900, what we'd do is get the original amount, which is 900, divide that by 100 and times by the percentage we're after, in this case 27%. Okay, so just a little explanation of what we've actually done. We've got the original amount, divide by 100. What's that done is given us 1% of 900, but we don't want 1%, we want 27%, so we times that by 27. So we can use a calculator for this. So it's 900 divided by 100 times 27 equals 243. 243. And because we're talking about money, we're going to put the pound sign there. 243 pounds. Okay. Right. Let's have a look at another question. If we were to work out 15% of £12.45, so you get the £12.45, divide by 100 and times by the 15. Okay, once again, use the calculator. 12.45 divided by 100 times 15, 1.8675. 1.8675. Okay, and once again, we're talking about money, so it's 1.8675 pounds. So that just doesn't look right, because normally when we're talking about money, we're talking about pounds and pennies, and we're normally leaving it to 2 decimal places, meaning after the decimal point there's 1, 2 digits. So we actually need to cut off here. Okay, so the digit after the cut-off point is the decider, and the rule is if the decider is 5 or more, that last digit goes up. If the decider is less than 5, that digit stays the same. So in this case, because the decider is 7, which is more than 5, that last digit will go up from 6 to 7. So our answer will be £1.87. Okay. Let's have a look at another example. So at the start I mentioned that there are lots of different methods for working out percentages, but the reason why I actually like this method, firstly because in my mind it makes sense, the method we're following, we're dividing by 100 to find 1% and then multiplying by the percentage we're after, depends what the percentage we're after is. Another reason why I like this method is because it can help us to deal with any percentage, even if we're trying to work out a decimal percentage like 1.3% of £550. Okay, so we might come across decimal percentages in everyday life, for example, on interest rates. If you're receiving interest on some savings, or if you're paying interest, you'll probably come across decimal percentages. Okay, so using this method, nothing to worry about by this decimal percentage. We just apply the same rule. So 550, that's the original amount, divide by 100 to find 1%, times 1.3. Okay, as simple as that. So using this method, we can deal with decimal percentages as well. So 550 divided by 100 times 1.3 equals £7.15. So far in every example, I've imagined that the amount we're starting with is money, but it doesn't necessarily have to be money. It could be anything. It could be a distance, it could be number of people, it could be number of cars. So for example, we're told that 37% of people pass. But how many people were there originally? 950. So 37% of the 950 people passed, and we want to know how many people passed. So we get 950 divided by 100 times 37. $950 divided by 100 times 37 equals 351.5. 351.5 people. So this is interesting. You won't come across this if you're doing level 1, but possibly at level 2 you might come across an answer like this, where you're talking about, like, for example, number of people, and it says 351.5 people. So obviously we can't have 0.5 of a person, so we can either round this up or we can round this down. So it will actually depend on what the question is dealing with, but in some circumstances you might round that up to 352, or sometimes you might round it down to 351. If we're strictly following the rules of rounding, we round this up to 352, because that would be the cut-off point. That's the decider, and because that's 5 or more, that digit will go up by 1, so it'll be 352 people passed. Okay, right, I hope that made sense. Right, so now we are very familiar, hopefully, and confident in working out percentages of amounts. Like I say, it doesn't necessarily have to be money, but a lot of the times if you come across percentage questions, it will be dealing with money. Okay, so sometimes you might be needing to work out a percentage increase or a percentage decrease. So for example, somebody earns £16,000 a year, and next year the wages are going to go up by 2.75%. So we need to work out 2.75% of £16,000. Okay, so how would we do that? Get the £16,000, divide by 100 to find 1%, times 2.75. $16,000 divided by 100 times 2.75 equals 440. Okay, so the wages next year would be 16,000 plus 440 equals, we don't need a calculator for this, £16,440. Okay, so that's the increase and that's the new salary next year. Okay, so that's an example of a percentage increase. So if we ever need to work out a percentage increase, what we do is work out the percentage and then add that on to the original amount. Now sometimes we might need to work out a percentage decrease. So for example, somebody's got a takeaway and their monthly profit is £3,000. That's how much profit they normally make in a month. But unfortunately, due to the current crisis and the lockdown, the profits have gone down by 60%. So we need to work out 60% of £3,000 to find out how much the profits have decreased by. So we get the 3,000 divided by 100 times by 60. £3,000 divided by 100 times 60 equals £1,800. Okay, so that's the decrease in the profit. So if the question asked us how much is the profit decreased by, we would stop here. The profit has decreased by £1,800 per month. But if the question asked us during the lockdown, what is the profit the takeaway is making, then what we have to do is get the original profit, which was £3,000, and then the profits have decreased by £1,800, which is 60%, so take that off, and that leaves us with £1,200. So the profit for the takeaway now is £1,200. Okay, so just to summarize, the rule for working out percentage of anything is here: divide by 100 times by the percentage you're after, and if it's a percentage increase, we're going to add the increase onto the original amount, and if it's a decrease, we're going to take that away from the original amount. I hope you found this video useful.